confess it, all of us.
Yeah. No. It's up here.
Boss, wewe.
Let's use the phone. You go with this.
I think if the other page would be better. Okay. The other page. Yes.
Fanda.
If you are done, you move. You move. Stand there. You move. Yes. You're moving.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in our hearts, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.
Good morning, Your Worship. May it please you, my name is Lino Anguzu. I am an Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions. I'm appearing this morning for the prosecution, Your Worship, together with Mr. Jatiko Thomas, who is also an Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions.
That's
Together with Mr. Richard Berivumbuka, Chief State Attorney. Your Honor, this matter is coming for the first time before you for reading the charges. All the three accused persons are in court. I will allow the defense team to introduce themselves.
Besigye, Your Worship. My name is Vagarius. Appearing together with the whom I'm going to introduce for A1 and A2. That is Colonel Dr. Besigye at Covet, Italy. My learned friend with whom we have instructions, Samuel Ronald Wanda, Akumivira, Farouk Kamlegea, Mukula George. We await guidance of court on the next or good silence. I'm sorry, one more, Your Worship. I'm sorry. Or good silence. We are ready for guidance. What's the name?
And we, on the prosecution side, we are ready.
What languages do you understand?
English.
These are the charges brought against each of you. M1, retired Colonel Dr. Besigye, adult Uganda, the retired UPDF officer, aged 67 years, resident of Kasanga, the town council, Nangabo sub-county, Nansana municipality, in Wakiso district. A2, Advocate Lutale, a main adult Uganda, aged 65 years, a resident of Mutungu Parish, marking the Sabagabo sub-county, Kusiro County, in Wakiso district. And A3, who is RO 12743, Captain Lenny Sola, a male adult Ugandan, aged 48 years old, a UPDF officer attached to Armored Brigade. The statement of the offense is treason contrary to section 23(1) C of the Penal Code Act, Act 128. The particulars of the offense are that Colonel retired Dr. Besigye, Advocate Lutare and Captain Denis Ola and others still at large between the year of 2023 and November 2024 at various places or construct countries, including Geneva in Switzerland, Athens in Greece, Nairobi in Kenya, Kampala in Uganda, contrived the plot, act or matter by force of arms to overturn the government of Uganda as by law established and expressed or declared such plot as by law established and expressed or declared such plot, act or matter by utterances and overt acts. The particulars of the overt acts are that A. Traveling to various countries, including Switzerland, Greece, Kenya, for purposes of attending meetings to further the plot to overturn the government of Uganda as by law established. B. Attending meetings with various individuals, both physically and virtually in various places, including Geneva in Switzerland, Athens in Greece, Nairobi in Kenya, and Kampala in Uganda in furtherance of the plot to overturn the government of Uganda as by law established. C. Utterances to various individuals during meetings and privately expressing desire and intent to overturn the government of Uganda as by law established. D. Providing logistical support and organizing for several Ugandan citizens to travel to Kisumu, Kenya for the purpose of receiving training in various military and intelligence gathering techniques. And E. Soliciting for military, financial, and other logistical support to overturn the government of Uganda as by law established. The alternate charge is statement of the offense in the alternate charge is mistreason or treason, contrary to section 25 of the Penal Code Act, Part 128. The particulars of the offense are that Colonel Retired Dr. Besigye, Haj Obed Lutare, and Captain Denis Ola and others still at large between the years of 2023 and November 2024 at various places, including Geneva in Switzerland, Athens in Greece, Nairobi in Kenya, Kampala in Uganda, knowing that another person intended to commit treason, did not give information thereof with all reasonable dispatch to the minister, an administrative officer, a magistrate, or an officer in charge of a police station, or use all reasonable endeavors to prevent the commission of treason. Now, this being capital matters, my duty was simply to read through the charges. You need not plead. You will only plead at High Court when you have been committed.
Your Worship, perhaps we should find out from the accused persons if they have heard and understood the charges read to them. And then I'll address you on how we intend to proceed with the matter.
Have you understood the charges that have been read to you?
Yes.
Then you each not need to plead. You will plead at High Court when you
The investigations in this matter are not yet complete. The investigations in the matter are not yet complete. Your Worship, And so our committal papers are not yet ready as of today. And so we will pray for an adjournment to another day for mention.
We have two issues to raise regarding the trial rights of the accused persons. One, the issue of their arrest. The issue regarding their arrest. Your Worship, we are concerned with the heavy military presence in this court. Because the military has no powers of arrest. Not have powers to produce any suspect before consult here. Now we see the dog here. If my understanding of the ranks in the army is proper, is a captain. I think it's a captain. Those pips indicate that the gentleman here standing next to my clients is a captain. And I can see the dog here again is also guarded by UPDF, MP, military police. Your Worship, this is a very serious matter. Treason is a charge which can be preferred before this honorable court and triable by the High Court. And all those processes can only be handled by the police force in presenting them before you. And if you remand them, it's the prison's authorities. So we seek for orders in regards to the management of the accused persons, Your Worship, in accordance with the law, to direct the military distance themselves from this matter. And if it pleases you, Your Worship, with your powers and the might you have, you give them marching orders out of this premises. We do pray, Your Worship, so that we deal with a situation that is conducive for dispensation of justice without any fear or apprehension, so that they get out of this place. We remain with the police and the prison authorities. They are enough to manage the situation. That is one. Two, Your Worship, the issue of the health status of A1, Colonel Dr. Besigye, as you can see, was brought here in a wheelchair, Your Worship. And he has been incarcerated since mid-November. We are now in February. As far as pre-trial rights are concerned, Your Worship, it's our prayer that this honorable court intervenes and makes orders that he be accorded the necessary facilities to be evacuated to a medical facility that can manage his health.
This prayer, Your Worship, is grounded on Article 23 of the Constitution. Clause 5, where a person is restricted or detained, that person shall be allowed to access medical treatment, including at the request of the cost of that person, access to private medical treatment. That person shall be allowed access to medical treatment, including at the request and at the cost of that person, access to private medical treatment. Your Worship, the applicant is ready to meet the costs. I was making an undertaking on his behalf, Your Worship, that he's ready to meet the costs of the treatment. The only prayer we are making is for his evacuation to a medical facility that can examine him thoroughly and then afford him urgent attention, which is specialized in nature, because as of now, Luzira prisons where he is being detained has no equipment, has no facilities to do specialized examination to understand the nature of the health challenge and be able to attend to the same. Your Worship, as I conclude on this, the right to life is paramount. I need not to emphasize this. And I'm sure the state would want also to prosecute him when he's in good standing as far as health is concerned. And for the record, Your Worship, your sister magistrate at Uganda Road had to stay some proceedings on account of his failing health for 60 days and said he could not stand the trial. And that was yesterday. The proceedings were stayed for 60 days to enable him stabilize. And even when he appeared in the High Court on Wednesday before Justice Singiza for an application for habeas corpus, it was the same story. His Lordship directed that he should be taken back to Luzira for further management and see how they can stabilize his health. But at that time, you could at least walk to court. Now, the situation has deteriorated further. He's now in a wheelchair. On Wednesday, he walked with the support by the prison's warders to court, to High Court. Yesterday, he could not be produced before Magistrate Court because of poor health. Now, today he's in a wheelchair. I'm sure, Your Worship, you wouldn't want to see the next phase, which could be a coffin. I'm sure the state wouldn't want also that situation to happen. That the next phase now would be a coffin. So it's the reason we are praying, and I hope my land friend on the other side would not object to this. That you be pleased, Your Worship, to order that he be evacuated to a facility that has got better enough equipment to examine his health. We do so, pray, Your Worship.
Your Worship, I have just a short response. Your Worship, my learned friend and senior, the Lord Mayor, and indeed I think all of us in this court
understand the peculiar circumstance of this case. Initially, we're all aware all the accused persons appeared in the General Court Martial. And it was only after the decision of the Supreme Court that the Director of Public Prosecutions assumed jurisdiction over this matter. And so all the accused persons, Your Worship, yesterday we applied for a production warrant to produce them from prison. And that is because they had been remanded there by the General Court Martial. And Your Worship, while A1 and A2, who were civilians, we are remanded into a civilian prison, which is Luzira. A3, who is a military officer, was remanded to, I think, the Makindi military detention facility. And therefore, there was no way he could be placed in civilian hands before the proceedings of today. And certainly, after today, he is going to be remanded on the orders and under the remand of this court. And I can assure my learned colleagues from the other side that the prisons authorities will then be in full control. And so that should not worry them. On the second issue regarding the health status of A1, I understand the submissions from my learned senior, and I associate myself with his citation of the constitutional provision granting the accused person a right to access medical care, treatment, even at his own cost in a private facility during his detention. My only concern is about the request that the court orders that the accused person, A1, gets treatment from a private, be evacuated to a private facility. Your Worship, what you've heard are just statements by my learned friend. They're statements from counsel, from the bar. I believe for you to be guided, for this court to be guided, to make a compelling order in that direction, you need to be guided by evidence. You need to make an inquiry as to the ailment. You need to make an inquiry as to whether prisons is indeed incapable of handling. You need to be guided whether this request has been made to the prison authorities and the prison authorities refused to hit to it. We have not heard from the prison authorities to this morning. And so, Your Worship, it would be, in my view, premature for you to make an order like that. However, counsel and the accused person, particularly A1, can request the prison authorities, the law is there, to obtain medical evidence from a private facility. It is only upon that, if there is evidence that there is a refusal, and then maybe the defense of the accused person can then apply or appeal to this court for this court to stretch a hand. And that order, Your Worship, can only be made after hearing all the parties on the evidence. But right now what we have are statements we're making from the bar, and I am not, in my view, you do not have sufficient material before you to make an order like that. And so I would respectfully pray that this court does not make that order. I also pray, Your Worship.
a brief reply, rejoinder, Your Worship. I'm really disturbed by the way the state is treating this matter, rather with the very insensitive attitude. They are very insensitive. Your Worship, I was clear in my submissions that his condition requires specialized examination, which can only be attained from a facility with better equipment. Now, how is it going to be done under the confines of Ruzira prisons? That you act on evidence, not statements from the bar. Which kind of evidence one would expect? And with the state in which the accused person has been brought here, Your Worship, is it a normal practice in the court that accused persons are wheeled into the dock? If I may ask, is it a normal practice for the accused person to be wheeled into the dock when they are not suffering from any disability? For the record, he's not having any disability, but he's just sick. It's the reason he's in the wheelchair. And that wheelchair, Your Worship, was not provided by ourselves, his lawyers, or his kith and kin, but the prison's authorities themselves. They understood the situation and said, no, the accused person could not walk himself here. He could only be brought here in a wheelchair. And I thought the statement I made would move them, would touch their hearts. That they want him next in the casket, to say casket. I thought that would be enough to move our colleagues to say, okay, let's get a solution to this. So anyway, Your Worship, we're entirely in your hands. And the life of Dr. Chiza Besigye is entirely now in your hands. That's all we can say at this material time, because today is a Friday. Obviously, they are going to be remanded and to send him back in a wheelchair back. Your Worship, honestly speaking, can an accused person who has been brought in a wheelchair be sent back on remand? Can this honorable court remand a person who is in a wheelchair? It's the reason we are saying from here, be taken to a medical facility. They will guard him from there. We go to a medical hospital, they can guard him from there. Just like they are guarding him from here. Once he stabilizes, then we pursue other processes. We have made enough case, Your Worship, and we pray that you be pleased to invoke your prerogative of powers, your discretionary powers, to offer him a remedy that he deserves. In accordance with Article 23, Clause 5, we do so pray.
heard from both the prosecution and the defense. On the issue of military personnel presence in court, the state has explained the circumstances under which there is presence of some of them, to which they have come while producing A3, who is a serving military officer and has been in their custody. So it was only imperative for them to produce him to court after receiving a production warrant from court. Now that the file is within this court's jurisdiction, A3 shall forthwith be remanded to Luzera Upper Prison. With regard to the prayers for personalized medical examination and treatment of A1, I am constrained to make such an order as my only jurisdiction in this matter, which is a capital offense, is to communicate the charge to the accused persons, and when investigations are done, then commit each of them to High Court for trial. Since A1 is represented, is advised to seek for a remedy from the appropriate court, which is the High Court. But for now, all the accused persons are remanded to Luzera Upper Prison, and the matter is adjourned for mention to the 7th of March, 2025.
Your Worship, we are just seeking for a favor. Just a favor, Your Worship. We had prepared the formal bail application to file, and since the accused person is here, the two accused persons, so that they can sign from here, because accessing them in Luzera is problematic. We have our commissioner for oath. If that could be done, Your Worship, we have the commissioner here who is ready to commission the papers, then we proceed with the application.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That's granted.
Most obliged, Your Worship.
Boss, find the capital.
Besigye will not die alone. Let me tell you.